Greetings, Planeswalkers, and happy holidays. Your regularly scheduled deck tech will begin shortly, but first, I'd like to share a story, so without any more delays, let me get my narrator voice on.
It was the night before Christmas at a small card shop owned by a covetous old man by the name of Ebenezer Moot. He and his lowly employee had worked all day selling magic cards. But even on good days, Mr. Moot was never a pleasant fellow. For Ebenezer Moot, there was always something more to sell or shortcut.
Mr. Moot, I wanted to ask you, could I have tomorrow off?
His employee sheepishly asked.
And why would you want tomorrow off?
Ebenezer was upset by the notion.
Well, it's Christmas Day, sir, and I thought—
Christmas Day? You think I care about Christmas Day? My boy, while it is true we may not have many customers tomorrow, someone needs to sort the bulk rares. So I expect to see you here bright and early.
Soon the night had come to a close and Ebenezer Moot had let his employee leave for the night. After working tirelessly trying to flip resealed packs on Tishichi Player, Moot had grown tired.
Man, I sure am tired.
But not a moment sooner after shutting his eyelids was Moot awoken by a loud sound.
Huh? Hello? Is someone there? Christ of St. Draft, what are you doing here?
Fellow man, only ever playing stacks and swindling people out of their collections. This time, Manamoot, you will pay. You will be visited by 3 spirits who will try to save your soul. Deny them, and you will be forced to play Genshin Impact.
That's not fair. Wait!
And so Ebenezer Moot's long Christmas Eve night began.
What's up, Planeswalkers? How you doing? How you doing? Where have I been? This is the life. Uh-oh. Wait! What? For today's video, we take a look at a viewer request. Captain Rex Nebula, a Boros and 1 colorless human pilot employee that has the text, at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose target non-land permanent you control. Until end of turn, it becomes a vehicle artifact with base power and toughness equal to its mana value, and it gains Crew 2 and Crash Land. Whenever this vehicle deals damage, roll a 6-sided die. If the result is equal to the vehicle's mana value, sacrifice this vehicle, then it deals damage to any target. Boy, is that a lot of text. Now, there are a few ways to play this card, and today this deck is a little bit of a pile. Not a bad pile, but definitely a pile. That said, I'd view this deck list as a guide, not a definitive way to play this commander. The strategy for this deck is to play aggressive Boros vehicles, and if the game goes late, win with some combo. I'm also doing a giveaway this month, and if you want more details on that, I talk about it at the end of this video. Now, if you're new here and you have a request of your own, leave it in the comments or join the channel Discord. Starting off our creatures, we have Brazen Dwarf. Since our commander has the ability to roll dice, this card can provide some good damage, especially with the amount of damage doublers I've put in this deck. Magna, Brazen Outlaw, makes treasures when a dwarf becomes tapped, which works well with the crew mechanic, and can sack the treasures that we make to find artifacts out of our deck and put them on the battlefield. You could also do dragons, but I'm gonna let you know right now, I didn't play any. Speedway Fanatic can give haste to our vehicles, and we do have a lot of those. Paula, Pilot Exemplar, is a lord for our vehicles when they become artifact creatures, but what's great about this card is when it becomes tapped, we can pay some mana to fish out vehicles from the top of our deck. Foundry Inspector, because we play a lot of artifacts, so the discount is useful to speed up our game plan. Lachelle, Clockwork Scholar, to protect our vehicles when they swing, and while we don't draw a lot of cards off the second ability of this card, it is technically possible. Aeronaut Admiral gives flying to our vehicle, and we can make this creature bigger if we make it a vehicle. Astor, Bearer of Blades, can find a vehicle off the top of our library, and this card lowers the cost of the crew mechanic to 1, which is always useful. Delina, Wild Mage, is a sweet card in this deck because while she can technically combo kill the table, this card is really useful because we can now copy our non-land permanents that we turned into artifact creatures when they became a vehicle. Non-land permanents like our damage doubler. Osliger, the Reconstructor, which when you're playing some mana on artifacts, it's hard not to break this card. We can exile artifacts from our graveyard to make 2 copies of an artifact on the battlefield. Solemn Simulacrum for the ramp, and later it's a 4/4 vehicle that we actively want to crash land. The Ancient Witness gives haste to our vehicles, and we can do a lot of damage that is proportional to the amount of tapped artifacts we have. Port Razor is here for the combo potential, but on its own it's a very good card because it also gives you extra combats, which works really well with our commander's ability. Godo, Bandit Lord to search up an artifact, but let's be honest, you only ever search up one artifact with that, and that is Helm of the Host, which we are playing. Ruin Grinder is a decent artifact creature that can fill our graveyard for Ossiger, and it can draw us a new hand. Cyberwind Squadron to give our vehicle Myriad if it's a non-legendary permanent that we turned into a vehicle. Now, onto the spells, we have Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare for exile removal, Boros Charm for protection, or for a sneaky way to double strike a player out of the game, Stroke of Midnight as a non-land permanent removal that is good for those annoying enchantments and artifacts, Teferi's Protection as another protection piece that saves us from Farewell, Blasphemous Act is our cheap board wipe, but honestly feel free to place this with Farewell if you want to upgrade the deck a little bit. Now for our artifacts and enchantments, I'll start with the ramp. First we have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Boros Signet, Mind Stone, Talisman of Conviction, and Cultivator's Caravan, which is also a vehicle so it works with our strategy. For everything else we have Clown Car, which either makes a lot of tokens or gets really big, or maybe both if you have enough mana, Basilisk Collar for some life gain, but it's mainly here for some combo action that I'll be showing at the end of the video, Tempered Steel to buff our vehicles, and this is a great target to copy once we make it a creature, Colossal Plow, which we always have a way to lower its crew cost, and the extra mana we get from it is always great. Ichor Wellspring for card draw when we play it, and if we sacrifice it. Smothering Tide because extra treasure are great for Magda, and the ramp is always useful. Assemble the Legion, which may seem like a strange include at first, but remember, we actually have a way to copy our vehicles, so when we turn this into a vehicle, we can get some extra copies on the battlefield. Smuggler's Copter for early game looting, Unlicensed Hearse is graveyard removal, and late game this card should be a very big creature. Dictate of the Twin Gods is our first damage doubler. This one does also affect us, so do be careful when you play it. Cursed Mirror, which is a mana rock, but we actually play this card because of its cloning effect, which while it's not permanent, it is a artifact creature, so it works well with our other cards. Mighty Servant of Oleko, I'm definitely saying that wrong, who cares? It is a cheap vehicle that is big and we can draw cards with it. Gratuitous Violence is a damage doubler for our creatures, which still works well because most of our damage does come from our creatures. Mimic that to get value out of our vehicles dying so we can make tokens. Peace Walker Colossus is another big cheap vehicle, but it also provides us the ability to turn our vehicles into creatures without having to accrue them. Fiery Emancipation, which is a damage tripler, making this card a prime target to turn into a creature vehicle to copy. Sculpting Steel, which is one of the best cards we can play in this deck, since our commander can turn any non-land permanent into an artifact for us to copy without having to make it a creature by crewing it. Sonic Screwdriver for its utility it provides, mainly it's great for untapping our artifacts. Sunbird's Invocation for the card advantage, again it's a great target to copy. Thopter's Shop to draw cards if we get the Crash Land ability, but we also have ways to sacrifice our artifacts in this deck. Aetherflux Reservoir for combo, we do have a few life gain pieces to turn this card into a weapon pretty easily. Helm of the Host is yet another combo piece. This one though is even good without the combo because just making extra creatures, because remember, we turn non-land permanents into vehicles, so technically we have a roundabout way of turning our non-land permanents into creatures that we could attach Helm to, which is always awesome. True Conviction to give lifelink to our creatures, and Double Strike is always a good way to close out the game. Horde Hauler to make some mana, RMS Titanic for the same reason, but honestly a big flying trample creature is worth keeping around. Surge Hacker Mech works really well in a deck full of vehicles because it's removal that cares about the number of vehicles we control. Weatherlight is a vehicle that can dig for more artifacts or legendary creatures off the top of our deck. Sky Sovereign Console Flagship can bolt a creature on ETB, and when it swings, Chimmel the Inner Sun for the free permanent, and our spells can no longer be countered, which is always a good bonus. Thunderhawk Gunship is a vehicle that makes tokens when it ETBs. Reaver Titan is a big body that deals 5 damage on swing to each opponent. Remember, we have a lot of damage doublers. Parhelion 2 makes Angels, and our commander actually upgrades the sizing of this vehicle by turning it into an 8/8. For the last artifact, we have Portal to Phyrexia, because who doesn't love mini board wipes attached to a reanimation piece that is also a 9/9 vehicle with our commander. For the mana base, do what your budget will allow, but if you'd like to copy a mana base, then help yourself to the one found in the deck list in the description of this video. My land recommendation for this deck is Inventor's Fair. Since we're playing so many artifacts, a tutor on a land is always awesome. For the combo section of the deck, I'll be showing off one of the combos in the deck, but there are more for you to find in the deck list. So for this combo, we need our commander, Aetherflux Reservoir, Basilisk Collar, and at least 51 life. Once all the cards are on the battlefield, we move to combat, we make Aetherflux Reservoir a vehicle and crew it with our commander, then move out of combat, equip the collar to the reservoir so we can now pay 50 life and start killing the table one by one. Since Aetherflux is a creature with lifelink, we'll be gaining 50 life back, so we can do this infinitely to the table. That's going to do it for today's video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Now about the giveaway. I'm giving away some packs with a card from yours truly, so if you'd like a chance to win, leave a comment saying you'd like to be entered, and I'll have more details in the description of this video. So this is my way of thanking everyone. I know when it comes to Magic content on YouTube, you have options, so thank you for choosing me. If you'd like to support the channel, then subscribe or join, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.